Good morning. Welcome to Mighty Mornings. I'm your host, Elvin, and today we're going to be going back to one of the episodes show we discussed and finally talk about a controversial episode from the show. But before I start, I got to bring in the expert from the show. It's my friend Chris. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Good, man. How's your morning been so far?
Good. I'm on my second cup of coffee and I got so much to do today. It's not even funny.
Well, we didn't touch base for 2 weeks now. How was your Halloween?
Uh God, it's so funny how time flies. Like I cannot believe we're already mid-November already.
Yeah,
Um
it's
but
crazy.
Halloween was good. Hung out with a couple of friends and yeah, can't complain. How was yours?
Well, I got kids. They don't want to go Halloween anymore. They don't do
What?
Halloween anymore. Yeah, it's so sad times. They're grown up. They're like, nah, we don't. We're good. We'll hand out candy. But we handed out a lot of candy. There was a lot of kids that showed up to our house. So I think we went through like 4 boxes of candy. So at least over 300 candies, at least. At least.
That's good because I was getting kind of worried there that too many people were doing the trick or treating in the mall thing. And I'm
Yeah,
just
what
like,
is up with that? A lot of people. I guess because of safety or it's easier kind of thing.
well, it's just like, it's
Scared to
another
say that.
way for the mall to babysit parents' kids who don't want to take their kids out. But
Mm.
the crappy thing is, here's a tip for you guys out there. All parents, never take your kids to the mall. You will never get any good candy because they got to be careful what they hand out. Working in retail, they will not hand out chocolate. They will not
What?
hand out, yeah, they can't hand out like Reese's Pieces because peanut allergy. So
Oh.
you're never, ever, ever going to get the good candy trick or
Oh.
treating at the mall. Yeah.
Uh, Cowbunga says, "You guys got Halloween in the Great White North." yeah, we have Halloween. We've had it for a long time. Thanks.
It's more like the Great Wet North
yeah,
because we're in BC.
it rains. It rains pretty much like every Halloween. Well, also for this Halloween, it was pretty good. It started raining later on, like around I think 9 o'clock. It started raining.
Yeah,
But it
but
was okay during
still
the
good.
for the kids to trick or treat. As long as the kids get that 2-3 hours of trick or treating in, I think it should be fine. Right?
Yeah, it felt very mellow this year. But hey, on the note of trick or treating, this has nothing to do with it. You know what I miss from the A&R Weekly being on there?
What?
What we got.
Oh, did you get something?
So I want to share with you guys something that I got last weekend, and it
Okay.
has to do with what we talk about. So it's retro cartoons, whatever. So I was out and about, and I still had some Trader Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I was not expecting to find this.
Whoa.
It's the super huge PowerCon Starburst Shira, and
Holy
it
shit.
is sick looking. Yeah, and the retro packaging, gotta love it. Yeah.
How much that set you back?
Oh, it didn't set me back anything. I had Trader Bucks for it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah.
For people that don't know, it's a toy store that allows to basically trade with them,
Yeah.
right? So,
Trade in your
with
old, get something new.
yeah. Um, so we got a show that we discussed, and we talked about this before. Like we said that eventually we'll circle back to some of the shows that we have done or introduced to this segment. And while you mentioned that there is a controversial, we kind of hinted at it too as well. You did kind of sprinkle it a little bit during the time when we brought the show up, and this is one of the earlier shows that we talked about that we brought up. But there is an episode in here Is it a one
Yes.
or two part?
It's a one part. Shall I go on and talk about it?
Yeah, I was gonna actually bring it up on the screen here for you.
Awesome. So this episode is from Gemina Holograms, and it's episode 40,
There it is.
and the episode is called Alone Again. So it's a very, it touches on multiple. So it might sound like a Debbie Downer, but in general, we're talking about, how controversial this was as a kids show. So let's let's begin. I'm not going to do a huge episode going through every single bits and pieces of it. We'll talk about the general idea and we'll go back and forth with how we feel, comments, what you guys think. So, in this episode, we have a new girl joining the Starlight House, which is Jerica's orphanage.
Okay, so what season is it and what episode? Do you know?
Episode 40.
Okay, and
Yeah.
season?
I believe it was part of season 2.
Okay,
That's the thing with these seasons of old cartoons is
they're so
like
long.
that could be season 20, you know.
Nobody knew how to do seasons back then. They just wanted to. They knew how to do episodes, but didn't know how to do seasons.
Well, it's like that one cartoon. It was what, like 120 episodes in a season. It's like, Jesus, how long is that season?
Seasons. They put an S
Yeah.
at the end. Didn't want to let you
God.
know. Anyway, so go on. You're saying?
So, yes, we have a new girl being brought to the Starlight House. Her name is Laura. She's introduced to Jerica, and they're so blunt in this time. So, Laura's parents died in a car accident. All the orphanages are full, so they contacted Jerica so she could stay there for a few weeks until they place her. And we're dealing with a girl probably in her early teens who is dealing with anxiety and depression, which is pretty big, especially going back to watch it. You kind of see similarities of what you know now as an adult. So she's dealing with anxiety and depression. She doesn't want to talk to anybody. She doesn't want to interact with them. She holds back. She plays the guitar, was brought up, oh, they'd love to hear what she could do. And she's like, oh, I'm not good enough. So her first night there, she's all alone and she plays her guitar and sings. And Gem and the Holograms overhear her and they ask her to play in their concert that's coming up. And she says no. And Kimber, which is Jem's sister, calls her chicken. And she's like, I'm not a chicken. She decides to do it. And then she storms out feeling intense and like, I have to prove something to someone. And that's the thing with anxiety and depression is there's this thing called people pleasers. So she decided to do it only to please someone else, even though she's still like not feeling well on the inside. Okay, so keep going. Let me know if I'm rambling, okay? So she's on the playground at school. She's feeling intense emotion. She's like, if there was an earthquake or something bad happened, she wouldn't have to deal with it. And then she meets this boy, Bobby. Bobby knows.
Bobby's World?
Huh?
From
No.
Bobby's World?
Yeah, Bobby's dealing out drugs. Yeah. He pulls up in his big wheel. And
Oh, his big wheel. All right.
You know what?
I'm liking where this is going.
It's all blinged out, and pulls out his pimp cane.
Spinners.
So Bobby introduces himself, overhears her talking to herself, and offers her some drugs.
Now,
Yeah.
okay, so Now, is it distinguishably like it? Is it easy to tell that these are drugs or nothing else? Did they make it that obvious?
Yes, very obvious. So in the episode, um, he's handing her up. What's it say? Bobby's World. Oh yes.
Good morning
As
to
he's
everybody. Good morning to Darth, Brick, Cowabunga. I didn't get to say good morning, so good morning to you guys.
Yes, hello. So he holds out his hand, and it's this little packet of straight up pills. So
So
they're like,
this is actually shown.
yeah,
Holy what?
yeah. So
What were
she's,
they thinking when they did this?
that's the thing with 80s cartoons. I know, as you know from watching, and anyone else there, it's all about life lessons. That's what cartoons were about. And
But
they,
isn't this one of these lessons that's a little bit too early?
oh, it's hard because when you think about it, this cartoon's aimed at kids, probably 6 and above. And, it's hard to tell if any teens watched it. They probably did because it was a show, very 80s music, and they had their own little music videos. So,
It's Gem and the Holograms.
yeah,
It's a show from the 80s. It was like a more of a rock and roll type of show. A lot of musical kind of stuff into it. Well, didn't musical, but music, sorry. And
yeah,
had a little bit of a futuristic uh, attached to it. But this is one of the shows, one of the episodes within the show we're talking about. And it was very controversial, as you can hear right now when Chris is explaining. Um, I don't know. Like, I mean, I just think that they, I can't believe that the broadcasting commission allowed this to be put on the airwaves, sorry, on the TV screens. Did they take
yeah.
it down at all, or was it always available? Like, were you able to watch
It,
it in repeat?
oh, yeah. It's the episode is available on YouTube, Tubi, and I even have the 3 seasons of Gem and the Holograms, and it's still on there. And I think the reason why is because, back in the day, they were blunt about it. There was no like they had to tiptoe around things. And also at
Sorry, Darth asked, was this only in Canada? No,
see,
it's North America, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, North America.
Um if you guys can find the episode, it is episode 40, and it's called Alone Again. If it shows up, then you can definitely watch it. There was no like it didn't get canceled. And it's funny because, this episode is quite intense for what it is. And no one's really brought it up before. Like, even doing the searches, other episodes were mentioned, but this one wasn't. And again, keep in mind, I haven't gotten to discuss more about the episode. Um, so let's continue if that's good with you. So she meets Bobby on a playground, offers her pills, saying, "This is going to help you play. It's going to help you feel better." She gets home. She's hesitant at first, too. But the way drug
I just
dealers
got a lot of
are,
questions. I got a lot of questions here. And by the way, if anybody in the chats has questions for Chris about this show specifically, or if you have something to add or ask of a show that you've seen that was very controversial, let us know. We'll probably talk about that show next time. Brick says here, "Oh, this was all shown here. U.S. No problem." Yeah. So let me ask you something. Okay,
Mhm.
how old were you when you watched this episode?
I would have been probably four, 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Now, also keep in mind, I didn't watch the show continuously as a kid, it wasn't my show. At the time, it was She-Ra, Princess of Power, and He-Man. Um, this kind of scathed by my interest. I don't know why. I know, shocking, but calm down, Elvin. Um, but yeah, I would have been about 4 or 5, maybe, probably, yeah, 4 or 5. Because this was about 87 or 88.
Okay. So Brick says here, yeah, I don't think it was a big deal. Even Saved by the Bell tried to do anti-drug things. But here's the thing, though. Saved by the Bell came out in the 90s. Gem was in the 80s. And Saved by the Bell was really, really geared to high school kids. Gem, I don't think was really geared to high school kids. I think it was more of the, uh, the like you said, from ages 6 to I think maybe 13, maybe around there,
Yeah.
like on the cusp of going into high school, but not really all the way in. Most of those people that watch Saved by the Bell, and me included, were at least 14 or 15. It was definitely geared towards the 16-year-old. Right, that was a sweet spot, the 16 years age.
Yeah.
So I just think it was a little too early for that message to be. This is my own opinion. I think it was a little too early for that message to be talked about on that show.
Yeah. So let me continue a little
Yeah.
bit further, and you might have some more questions because they really didn't hold back in describing what it was. So she gets these drugs, she goes back home, she decides to take one, and then she starts playing her guitar. She's like, oh, I've never played that chord before. And she starts feeling the effects. And she's like, oh, that's enough practice. So she throws her guitar down, which then changes into like some kind of creature. And then she goes over and looks at her lunchbox. And then her lunchbox turns into like this pretty bird. And then she's going crazy saying, oh, I want to be a bird. I want to fly. And then she goes out on the ledge of her window like she's going to jump and say she's going to fly away. And that's when Jerica comes out of the house and she's like, no, don't jump. And she's like, well, you better hurry up because I'm going to catch the wind and I'm going to fly.
Yeah. Brick brings up something. He wrote a story here for you. I'll try to summarize here. Basically, he's saying that in the 80s, it was, the Nancy Reagan and, President Reagan, it was a big drug enforcement era time where everything was war on drugs. And so they wanted to, have this educational thing put into for kids. So I don't know if that was the point of it from this show, because if that, I understand that, and I see that as well. And no, don't worry, you don't have to. It's not a political thing. It's connected to what we're talking about, so it's fine. So I don't know if other shows. Was there any other show besides Saved by the Bell, I guess, and Gem?
There is an episode of oh my god, Captain Planet and the Planeteers.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing is like, again, I find if any show talks about any kind of drug use, they got to tiptoe around it. I do feel like what we've seen in a kid's cartoon, that this was pretty intense. So kind of fast forwarding through. So she sees this, she's about to jump, she gets saved, and then she becomes an addict. So she's hunting Bobby down to get another fix because the concert's coming up. And it's crazy because they even show the steps, she was depressed, anxiety, she wouldn't talk to anyone, and then she became skinny. Like they actually animated her face to look like it was skinnier. Oh
they
god,
went
yeah.
all out.
And then she's hunting Bobby down because she's out and she's freaking out at
She needs
home.
her fix. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I remember watching that episode for the first time when I was older. I'm like, holy crap, this is like hardcore. This is like some show you'd see on like CSI or Crime Scene, and she finds him and he's like, oh, well, the first couple of times is free. Now you got to pay for it. And it's funny because like for a pack of drugs at that point was like $30, he said. He's like, well, you got to cough up $30. She's
Uh,
desperate and she goes back to the orphanage to steal money.
ooh,
Yeah.
it's pretty hardcore. Brick says, and Saved by the Bell was on Saturday mornings with cartoons. It's skewed young too as well. It truly was. It was truly a multiversal um, prong, I guess, attacking on drugs. For us, Saved by the Bell was usually in the afternoon. I remember watching it after school. Usually
Mm-hmm.
an hour after school. That's when maybe the very first season was probably in the mornings. But just remember largely the mornings were cartoons for us here, and it was Saved by the Bell in the afternoon with some other stuff like Transformers would come on in the afternoon as well. They always change around the schedule for shows because they wanted to hit the target audience at the right time. So he says there is TMNT as well, Winnie the Pooh, Smurfs. We should do is go back and check all these episodes out and find them where they are and see how crazy they are and compare them all and see which one had the most. But this sounds very hardcore. This sounds like they went all in with this episode. They weren't
Yeah.
sort of like trying to be tippy toey around what drugs can do or you should not take drugs. This was like, we're going to show everything that someone who's addicted to drugs is going to go through, and
Yeah.
we're gonna animate it. We're not gonna cover the person around or put them in the background or something like that. We're gonna be front and center with this thing. So when you watched it for the first time, do you remember like what was going through your emotions when you were watching it for the first? Do you remember that?
All I remember is there's many episodes of this cartoon where it's like, oh God, how did they get away with that? I'm just like, it was quite intense knowing that they aimed this at children, and at the same time, it was very informative. I'm like, they touched on everything. They even touched on her going back to Bobby, and Bobby was pulling the same moves on another girl, getting her into drugs, and her realization that it's not, he didn't like, he wasn't falling for her. It was just a way to sell the drugs. So her seeing that, she kind of realized, oh, okay, so he's only doing this to get us into buying the drugs and getting us addicted. So it was all the levels of addiction with this. And, when I talk about addiction, it's not just drugs, it could be alcohol, it could be anything. I feel like it was really a way for them to put out there, and because it's a kid show, maybe it helps the kids who are watching it realize if they were experiencing addiction in the household or family or someone they loved, they could recognize it and say, maybe so and so, maybe this, what can I do to help? Or, find help, find someone who can actually help this person who might be dealing with this problem. So, as intense as the episode is, and I know we see different shows even nowadays talk about drug use and addiction. This was it was like everything that has to do with it was shown in this episode. This was an episode, if you haven't seen Gem and the Holograms before, they have a rival band, the Misfits. This is an episode where the Misfits didn't even show up because they wanted the main focus to be on the lesson. So, it's
Brick
crazy.
says there, sorry, wasn't clear on top of all anti-drug episodes on cartoon shows. There was a multiversal crossover TV special called Cartoon All Stars to the Rescue from the 1990.
Oh, I think I'm gonna have to search. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so they had one. I didn't know about it either. They had one. Maybe that's an episode that wasn't released in Canada. I don't know.
They're like, they don't
The war
need
on drugs was in the
lessons.
U.S. only. So Reagan was going crazy. He was going bananas,
Oh
trying
yeah.
to get all the drugs taken off the streets. And look how well that happened. Like look at where we are now today. So
Ugh,
um, nobody's going to talk about it. We're not going to get into politics and all that stuff, but
no.
um, it's definitely a U.S. thing. Well, not anymore. Not anymore. It's become a more of a cultural thing with a lot of the stuff. We've had every country has their own problems with substance abuse, but anyways, this might have been one of the shows that I wouldn't have expected to
Hmm.
have a controversial message. I personally, I don't care what the situation was at that time. I don't think that a show like this that is geared to younger kids as well should ever have that type of message, because I don't think they even understand the complexity of what it is. Right? Like,
So here's a question for you. Being a parent of two, and your kids obviously watch cartoons, and if there was a now, funny, you it's not like you'd be able to go back and watch the episode because you couldn't TiVo it, and
yeah,
you didn't
yeah.
have
Once it was
streaming
gone, it was gone. Yeah,
services.
yeah.
Um, so if your kids came up to you and asked you about drugs out of the blue that you weren't expecting, and being so detailed informed about what drugs can do, are you prepared to talk to your kids about it?
Well, I've already had this conversation with my kids, but
Yeah.
that's what parents are supposed to do. We're supposed to talk to them about things that are going to be coming up, will be confronted or have people around them, maybe possibly. That's what you're supposed to do as a parent. I don't think I need a TV show to explain that to my kids. It should be my responsibility to do that as a parent, right?
Hmm.
That's where I'm like, I understand what Brick has said, and he's made it, very clear and explained quite well, which I appreciate, Brick, by the way. Um, and I hear from your point of view as well. I personally think no kid under 10 should have to go through this type of message. I think over 10, the brain has developed. They're more of an understanding of nature, and they're going to be coming to it head on soon in teenage life. Um, I just think, yeah, it's for me. It when you mentioned this to me and saying, "Hey, there's an episode that we should definitely talk about," and then you kind of gave the details of it. I was quite shocked. I was like, "Holy smokes! Like this show is doing it? Like that's crazy." I don't like. I just don't know. I was just kind of taken back. I was like, "Wow, okay, I didn't expect this show to do that." And right now when you just explain the details of this character Bobby and what they're doing, they're showing him handing out the drugs. They're showing the character going through all of her situations, including losing weight and all that. I didn't think they were going to go into that detail of it all. Usually, I just thought they were kind of baggy, little dangle, little
Yeah.
baggy, and then say, "Yeah, this person did drugs," and she's like, "I'm sick to my stomach" or something. That's what I expected, but I didn't think it
Yeah.
was going to go that deep into it.
Well, and not only that, but like just her actually having a whole, like, 3 minutes of her tripping out, seeing her guitar transform and her
Mhm.
lunchbox, and then her feeling like she's a bird. And she actually goes out onto the ledge of the second story, and she wanted to jump because she thought
That's
she was a
crazy,
bird.
man. That's crazy. Can you imagine the kind of message you're sending to kids saying that, hey, if things go all AWOL, consider committing suicide?
Uh, and, again, it's the thing with the talk about drugs with children is, you know, I feel like some parents just don't want to have that conversation. So, this is why we get so many episodes and cartoons and TV shows where they talk about it. Because if the parent doesn't talk about it, then how are your kids going to know? And, you know, I get from your point of view saying, that might be too much for my kids to watch in an episode. But also keep in mind that this could be a way of opening up conversation with your parents. It's like they're worried about talking about it. It's
That's a
just
good
like
point. Yeah.
it's like talking about the birds and the bees, right? How do I bring this up to my kid? This is how you were born. So it is a sensitive subject, maybe not so much anymore.
But if my kid is like 6 or 8 years old, I'm not going to go into detail of explaining this because they're not going to understand most of it. They're too young, right?
Yeah, and at least it gives you the window of saying, okay, so my kid is 6. Here's how I'm going to talk to him about it. If you meet a stranger and they offer you anything, say no.
Yeah.
And you might have told them before, but this is just reaffirming this is some bad things that can happen. So there's always people are going to complain about anything that is too much for kids. Everyone wants to complain about something, but guess what? Sometimes it's needed. The toughest love is what someone might need. Hearing the truth, it might not be pretty, but this is just how the world is right now. And it's good to let kids know that this is out there. Be on your guard. And, if someone approaches you, just say no,
Yeah.
walk away.
Break something says, Gem's really a unique IP, both at the time but today's standards. The character designs premise were rad and gave Barbie a run for her money. And I
Yeah.
wonder if Hannah Montana was inspired by that. I haven't watched Hannah Montana, nor do I look like I'm going to be watching it anytime soon. But
Please, didn't you go to the concert? You're
uh,
like, hey, Christopher, I got tickets. You want to go? And I'm like, I'm not into that.
I got front row, Chris.
You got the meet and greet package.
Did you get your what's her face's name? The singer that's really popular right now.
Taylor Swift?
Yeah, did you get
No.
her tickets? Are you a Taylor Swift fan?
I like some of her music, but not enough to like take out a second. I live in BC.
Take
How
out
the
a
hell am
second
I?
more. No, the
How,
tickets were pretty reasonable. They're only a couple $100.
oh, but did you see people who are buying the tickets from the States are selling them for like an extra $600? If they get caught, they're automatically going to be charged taxes.
So my friend and all of my buddies, they're like, we should go and try to get Taylor Swift tickets. And I'm just like, what? They're like, no, you don't understand. It's like winning the lottery if you get one of these tickets. I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, you can actually resell these for like thousands of dollars and people will buy it. And I was like, what are you crazy? I'm like, you're taking it away from fans who actually want to watch this stuff, right? And I try to explain that to people who want to make money for some reason. So they went and submitted their application because it's like a draw or like
Yeah.
it's a draw. You submit and they will randomly pick people and give you a code and then you can buy your ticket based on that code. And I think I had like 20 friends of mine that tried this stuff and only one got in. And he said that when he went to buy his tickets, they were just like literally disappearing off the screen. And he
See,
was lucky to get 4 tickets, top row though, upper
this
levels.
is being a collector of action figures, this. I know this. We all see it.
I think Brick is lying here. He goes, I've never watched Hannah Montana either, but someone told me about it. You're lying to me, Brick. I think you watch it. It's okay. You can be honest. It's a safe space.
Yeah. We don't judge. Look at
Yeah. You wear a Versace hat.
It's Versace.
Oh,
And if
sorry.
anyone
Versace. Sorry.
knows that, I bought it at Versace. If you can tell me what movie that's from, you will have all the respect for me in the world because it's
Rush
one of
Hour.
my favorite.
No, it's from the girl from Saved by the Bell. What's her name?
Elizabeth Berkley.
Yeah, what's her name? What was that movie that she was in?
I'm not going to tell you. I
Showgirl.
want to see if they knew.
Showgirls.
Yeah. What were
Cowabunga.
I
Oh,
saw
Darth,
every
Darth
episode.
watched it too. I am shocked. Darth watched this. I am shocked. He must have had a crush when he was a kid.
Yeah, but did you
I think a
have a
lot of kids
crush?
watch Hannah Montana. It was obviously popular for a reason. So
Yeah. But like even Hannah Montana, from what I've heard about the show, is even better than the Gem and a Holograms movie. The movie effing sucked. Like I don't even want to talk about it. I'm just gonna say that Hannah Montana was probably better than what garbage Hasbro put out. Anyways, but back to Taylor Swift. So many people ruin it for everyone. You know, you can't be a
here's what
fan.
I think they need to start doing here, because it's getting out of hand. It's not just Taylor Swift. There's other. Obviously, she's probably the biggest of them all in terms of what's happening.
Beyonce.
Yeah, Beyonce and like The Weeknd, Drake, whoever is out there. Like, I think what they need to do is they should not allow anyone to do any resales. No resales.
But people are gonna do it no matter what,
No.
unless
I mean, like, don't allow the tickets to be resold again. Like these ticketing places, like StubHub and all that stuff. I think concerts should ban any resales of tickets. I know it's going to hurt StubHub a lot, but there's sports venues and sports events that they can do and resell. That's fine. There's still enough product out there for StubHub to probably survive. But I think concerts should be banning anyone from reselling to a certain degree. I think maybe a week before the show,
yeah.
they should allow it to sell, but before that, they're not allowed to sell. What will do is make people think twice, because time is the essence when you want to flip this stuff. You want to get
Oh
like,
yeah.
a lot of people don't have the patience, like scalpers, seasoned scalpers will wait to the last minute anyways. They don't care. But for the average person, like for example, my friends who are trying to resell this stuff, they might not be able to stomach it, knowing that they might not be able to sell the stuff. So they might not be inclined to go and submit their application to get a chance to get these tickets, because they don't know if they're going to be able to flip this with a week left or something like that. I think you need to time this thing and scare some people away from doing this stuff, so it allows the actual fans of the show to get a chance to buy these tickets.
But
Right?
the thing is, being a big fan, sometimes they'll do whatever they can to get those tickets.
Well, that's on
So
them then. That's on them then. If they're willing to go and blow, $3,000-4,000 on a ticket that was valued at $400, that's on them. But at least this allows people to think twice and say, you know what, maybe I should not buy these tickets, because what if I can't sell these for a week before the show? What if I can't?
so
Right?
what they should do is because they sell the tickets pretty far in advance.
Yeah.
I think what they should do is um, trace the ticket to the buyer, the name. So if you show up at the concert and they scan a ticket and they look at your ID and it's not the right person, you're crap out of luck. But what they should do is, if they have scalpers going in buying these tickets, they only have a time frame to resell. Because here's the thing, if you prevent reselling 100%, it's it's not going to be the oh my god, why can't I think? It's not going to.
Cowabunga Dude says here, sorry, Brick something says here is, so Cowabunga Dude and, so why did I say Cowabunga Dude? It's Cowabunga and Darth. The gem connections are real, right? So you were saying, sorry, go on.
I feel like there's going to be no right answer or no right actions to take to prevent people from
Well, something has to
buying.
be done, because some of these fans are paying, like, I don't know what it is to be a hardcore fan of an artist, because I do like a lot of artists out there, but I would never ever pay like 4 or 5 times. Except the only artist that I would ever pay an obscene amount of money to see is Michael Jackson. That's the only
Yeah.
artist I would have ever paid an obscene amount of money. to my limits to go see. But other than that, I do like a lot of other artists from various genres. I listen to a lot of types of music.
Hmm.
I would never pay the money that some of these Taylor Swifties are paying. They're paying
No,
like $3,000-4,000 for like nosebleeds.
it's crazy. The most I've ever paid for a concert, I've seen some small concerts here and there. Hey, do you remember Virgin Megastore that was downtown? I went to go see Biff Naked there. But the most I've ever paid was to go see Lady Gaga. I think I've seen 3 or 4 of her concerts, and I would get
Wow.
the VIP seats. But one year I went to both concerts, so the Friday night and Saturday night,
Oh my god.
and
Why?
um, because she's amazing. Her show is like a spectacle. And even seeing the show twice in a row, it was still enjoyable. And I probably paid mm, just about $1,000. But the second night at the time, I did get a ticket for my partner because then that was me reasoning why I could go see her again
Well,
and
yeah,
spend the
if
money.
you didn't have to pay for the second ticket, then why not just go anyways, right? If you're giving it, it makes sense.
Yeah, but that is the most I'd pay. And I don't have regrets. But if it came down to seeing Lady Gaga and the tickets were like $3,000-4,000, I'd be like, I'm good with watching music videos. Because honestly, if you're going to her concert and you're spending, let's say the cheapest for the higher nosebleeds was $1,200, you might as well just watch her on a big screen TV. Is it really worth?
It's the experience, Chris.
But what are you
How dare you? How
experiencing?
dare you talk to the Swifties like that? They're an
I,
army to be reckoned with.
I'm not talking down to the Swifties. I'm just talking my point of view. And it just sucks because people who are money hungry don't give a crap about people who are actually fans, and that's the crappy thing about.
That's what I'm saying. Like there has to be something done to prevent this because it's getting way out of hand.
Yeah,
It's just absolutely ridiculous. And then we have the introduction of bots, sometimes ruining it for things like it even spills over to what we do as collectors. Like bots go into these sites like Target and all that, and then buy up all the inventory or as many as they can.
hmm,
Recently we've seen a lot of those sites offering limitations. Like for example, Hasbro has limit for 2. I think Target started doing that, but Target's doing limit for 5, and you can make like 3-4 accounts, and all of a sudden you have 20. So is that really solving the problem? It's sort of like masking a little bit of it and not really fixing it. But I would love
yeah,
to see, and it has to happen because there's frustration now being spilled over by a lot of people from various, you know, entities, whether it be movies, um, concerts, collectibles, sports events. It's the secondary market has become a massive thing now. It used to be for like clothing like Supreme, Jordans, but it's crazy now. It's like everything and anything is all secondary market now. People are using this as an income now to supplement their, whatever they're making, and it's become a business, an illegal business, because you're not paying taxes on your profit. So
yeah,
it's an illegal bit. Like when you're selling Swifty tickets for like in the tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes you're not paying your taxes. I know that for a fact that the governments, both Canada and the US, are probably looking at, okay, this is getting out of hand and there's some serious money being moved around here now. Like we're talking about
hmm,
tens of thousands of dollars. There has to be something in place. I don't know how StubHub. I think StubHub does take a cut from you, which that's how they would probably operate. But
yeah,
you're still making money. You're still making
yeah.
profit, right? So, um,
It's it's the whole situation with the Airbnb thing.
side note, a friend of mine, side note, me and the fam are spending next week in Vancouver. A friend's taking me to Toy Traders, but there's any geeky thing I should try to see. Oh, that's fantastic that you're in Vancouver. You should message me, and maybe I'll try to meet you, or see you at Toy Traders. I don't know. I'd see how our schedule is. Oh, unless you don't want to meet me, but that's fine. You can meet Chris.
Wow, you're a creeper.
Oh yeah. Okay. Thanks, Chris. Stay away from downtown Golden Ages. I don't recommend that
Yeah.
place. That place. I'm not trying to knock on that store, but I just think that their prices are out to lunch, and maybe it's because where they're located. They're located in downtown, and it's an expensive store to go
You know
and
what? But
maintain.
if you're in the downtown area, check it out because they've been around for quite some time. I remember when they used to be the two-sided store, like you could go around in the loop.
Mm.
Now I feel like they don't have a lot anymore. I feel like I don't know. It's not the same, but if you're in the downtown core, definitely just pop in and check it out cuz if you are a big TV and film fan, they did film an episode of iZombie there. So if you guys remember that show, it was one of my favorite shows on Netflix. They filmed an episode in there.
Um, what other places? I definitely think you should go to Metropolis, Metrotown,
Yes.
and then go across the street from the mall. There's a comic store there. They're not a huge comic store, but they have some cool stuff there. They usually have some stuff that people have brought in. Um,
Metropolis Comics.
I definitely think Brick. I definitely think you should go to ages 3 and up. They've got a store there now. They also have a warehouse, a massive warehouse. So when you go to the store, or if you look online, ages 3 and up, your friends should know the store, and go and check out their warehouse and their store. A warehouse is open to buyers, uh, because they have everything displayed, and it's a lot of stuff, mostly Transformer-esque, but they do have Marvel, they do have Hot Toys, they do
Model
have
kits.
model kits. They do have some other stuff as well going, and you might find some cool stuff that only that store is selling because they have a lot of third party stuff come to their store as well. So I
Yeah.
definitely think you should check out ages 3 and up for sure.
And if you're in North Van, hopefully it's a nice day because if you're here and it's sunny and you're taking transit, take transit to North Van, hop on the C bus. It's a really nice ride. There is a comic toy store up in there that I really enjoy is Big Pete's.
Yes, Big Pete. So Brick says he's going with a friend Ken from Toy Connect. Yes, Ken is a good dude. He's been a collector for a long time. He has YouTube channel, which people I think should check out. Can Toy Connections. Very very cool dude. He loves collecting vintage stuff, new stuff. He's just a huge all around nerd that collects cool stuff. Uh, but Yeah, definitely go check out ages 3 and up. I really recommend that store. Um, what else is there? Is there anything else that we can recommend for Brick to go and check out?
Stay away from Hastings Street. um,
Yes. Okay. I'm sure
yeah.
Ken will let him know. I'm sure.
You know what? Because you're going to be in Langley for Toy Traders, don't forget to check out. They just reopened in a
Yes.
bigger location, Constant Collectibles. These guys are just as awesome.
Yes.
They do trading as well. If you're a big Hot Wheels fan, they
Yeah.
got crap loads of Hot Wheels. And then there is another toy store, and I'm so sorry I forgot the name. It's kind of around the corner towards the Value Village. It's just this little shop. They
What
have,
city?
huh?
What city?
Langley. It's in the same area. God,
Okay.
I forget the name. I'm sorry, but just search like comic toy collectibles in
Yeah.
Langley. It's
So
an oh, sorry.
no, that's okay. Go ahead. You finish.
It's just this cool little toy store that has like some current, a lot of vintage retro cars, action figures. Just have lots of fun and do a little bit of research before you come out. You might even find some
Well, he's
gems.
got Ken. Ken probably would know all these
Yeah.
places. But going back to what you're saying about is it Constant Collectibles?
Yes.
So they were a shop that was open for a long time, and then They shut down because business wasn't doing good, and it was just before COVID or around COVID. They had to shut down, I think, right? Maybe it
Hmm.
could be a year
Yeah.
before that. But the person that is running the store there, they're fantastic people. Um, Weiser's Wild World Collectibles. Yeah, that's it's more of like I would consider them more of like collectibles of other things besides figures. I don't think they do too much figures there, but I would definitely check out Constant Collectibles. They just opened up again, and they've actually taken people from the people from Toy Traders that used to work there went to over there. I'm gonna
Oh
be
wow.
honest. I'll be honest with everybody here. This is my honest opinion. Toy Traders isn't as good as it used to be. Um, the place itself is a must see place because of the what they put into the love and care into that store in terms of um, the dioramas and all the things that they do there. It's a show. It's a show and a half. But the products and the stuff that they sell there, the prices are outrageous. I don't shop there. I don't go there often. I know you do, and I'm not trying to be negative about that place, but I just think the prices are out to lunch for some of the stuff. And whatever reasons they have, that's their reason. I don't have to buy it. But I do think that the place is definitely worth going there. It's ridiculous how it looks. But Constant Collectibles, I definitely think you should go there. Their used stuff is actually awesome. Yeah, the Ewok and Vampire. I root for those guys. They used to be another store in Maple Ridge. I don't think it was called Krypton's. Krypton. They shut down because the owner of that is paired. I think partnered up with Constant Collectibles to open up there in Langley. So um, definitely check them out. I root for stores like this. They with good customer service and they treat people well, and their prices are reasonable, not outrageous. I went to Toy Traders and they were selling Marvel Legends for $50 Canadian, and I was just like, no, sorry, not doing this. Um, you gotta, I understand overhead costs a lot, but you gotta balance things out. You gotta understand, especially today's economy that we're living in here, is you can't be doing prices like that if it doesn't make any sense. Like, shouldn't be a regular figure that just came out $50. It shouldn't be doing that, right? But hey, what do I know? I don't run a store like that. So you're on mute, by the way, Chris. Uh, yeah, we can't hear your audio at all. Uh, but yeah, Brick, definitely check that out. Aegis, I would check it out. It's just the variety and selection is good at Aegis as well in terms of Transformers, third party stuff like that. Uh, it's really cool. Uh, what else is here? I wonder what else we could get him to go to. I don't know. There might be other stuff, but we've mentioned for the North Van as well. Big Pete's. Big Pete's is an older store that's been around for a long time. Um, they might have some stuff there that you might be able to go through. I don't know if you like comics. They probably have a lot of old comics that you can maybe see if you can buy. I've seen comics from like 40 years ago at their store, so it depends on what you want to collect. I don't know what's going on with Chris's audio. Maybe he has to unplug and plug it back in his audio. But um, we've veered off way off from Gem and the holograms. But it's okay. We were posed a question and we wanted to answer that question, so that's fine with me. Uh, Brick, how long are you staying? Maybe you should check out some food as well. There's a lot of good places in Vancouver to get some food. Good steakhouses, seafood as well. Yeah, don't just check out the collectible stuff. Check out the food as well. Chris, what's going on, buddy? Oh man, maybe you should exit out and come back into the show. That might help. And check your settings as well. Yeah, technical difficulties. Are you back? Go into settings and check your audio. Maybe you've changed your audios in your settings here. on StreamYards. But I also want to talk about some of the stuff that we do here at ANR. If you're new here, or if you've forgotten, Monday nights at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time, we do our ANR weekly. On Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m., we do our popcorn chicken segment. Popcorn chicken segment. I hear his device is not connected, but looks like he might be here soon. Christopher, hello. No, I cannot hear you. Start freaking out. Start freaking out. Brick says here, we're there for a week. Yeah, it's the whole family, including the 10, 12-year-olds. So I only have maybe one day to nerd things out. Ooh, if it's one day, then yeah, you definitely gotta plan your day out really well. So I would go to Toy Traders first, Constant Collectibles after, because they're close by. And then I think you should maybe trek down to Aegis, because Aegis is in another city and it's about another 25 minutes drive from where you're going to be. And the other thing with Aegis is they don't open till lunchtime. So you don't want to waste that whole day waiting for that store to open and then go to the other stores. I would go to those stores that are open at 10 and then head down over there. Those three for sure you should check out. All the other stuff, Big Pete's or Metropolis Comics, those ones you can. I mean, if you want to take your family to the mall, then definitely go to Metropolis Comics, which is across the mall, though, not in the mall. But I would check out Metropolis Comics if you want to see some things. But the mall's right there. You might as well take your family to the mall. Maybe kill two birds with one stone. But hey, let us know how your day went. That'd be awesome. Darth, yeah. Rage. Chris, what works for me is it's unplugging and plugging back in. So if you tried that already, I don't know what to say. Check the mute buttons on your desktop, your computer, not on StreamYard. See if that's on mute. But hey, if you can't, it's here. It says mute right there. You have mute on your screen. Unmute it. See on your screen it says mute next to your name. Oh yeah, no, it doesn't work. No. On that note, I guess we'll end today's show. It's okay, Chris. Don't worry. You could sign to people saying bye and I heart. You can do those things. You can do rock and roll for jam. you can do snorting for don't do that. Thanks everybody for joining us. We appreciate all of you guys joining us. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another show or an episode from a show. We'll talk about it. Might be controversial, might be funny. Who knows? We will pick something. I appreciate every one of you guys for joining us. Chris will say bye to us like this. And we will end the show today. Don't forget, we'll be back in 2 weeks at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time with another cool topic to get into. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, definitely we'll be focusing on stuff. We might talk about something, other than this stuff, but for sure. We'll definitely focus on some cool episode in 2 weeks for sure, or a new show. Have a good Saturday. Have a good weekend. Enjoy collecting. Enjoy your time with your families. And we'll catch you guys soon. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.